Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene of Living World of Darkness, the Mage venue. And we start the scene a little after the previous one, like say half an hour or something. Um, a lot of mages kind of stormed out of the common room for various reasons. Ava went to the portal room that has been inhabiting ever since she kind of arrived at the Chantry. She does still have her bedroom. There's still most of her clothes there, most of her stuff there, but a lot of stuff that she owns is in the portal room. Um, However, now with the new little addition to, well, her family, little Mr. Paris, um, she has actually like placed some of the dog food in her bedroom and some of the dog food in the portal room, and kind of divided everything amongst the two rooms. And after she's done that and has kind of been sitting around, playing a little bit with him and trying to focus a little on her writing, the little dog kind of was, well, not being annoying, but adamant that he needed to go somewhere. So after barely being able to stop him from peeing in the portal room, um, Alva will grab him and will almost run up the two flights of stairs that will lead her to the rooftop garden. And yeah, she'll walk in there and kind of let Paris run around for himself as he finds a good place to do whatever he needs to do. She'll spot Grace, but she won't approach the other woman because yeah, she does not think that Grace necessarily wants to talk to a wanted criminal. So she'll keep to herself a little and watch Ferris.
Well, allow me to give you what Grace's response would be to, obviously hearing you come up the steps and everything. She's pretty much got like a bucket of soapy water and like a big sponge. And you can see she's clearly just kind of scrubbing away at this pretty old, kind of rickety, but stable enough sort of easel. And when she hears you, she just turns and just sort of gives you a little wave, like she's not being unfriendly. She even maybe even a little smile. She's obviously relaxed just in having something to focus on. You know, like the whole situation was not you downstairs. It was,
Oh no.
other things. So yeah, she's fine with you. She's not gonna like go over towards you because she is busy, but you
Hmm.
know, yeah.
With the wave and the smile, Ava will kind of slowly like walk over, not like very like targeting Grace, be like, "Hey, let's talk," but more, yeah, sauntering over and looks at this thing that she's cleaning and will then ask, "Do you need a hand?"
And she'll turn more fully to face you, and you can see there's like a streak of like that kind of dirt that gets on your face from like if it's dirty soapy water that kind of
Mm.
splashed on you. You can see there's some of that on one cheek. Um, and parts of her sweatshirt are definitely a bit wet. And she'll just be like, I mean, how are you dressed? Are you dressed in a way that would be weird to get yourself dirty?
She's probably dressed more in like, yeah, also like a pair of, actually not even jeans, kind of like yoga pants, and she'll wear like a light colored hoodie.
Oh,
With
it's not the yeah, it's not so bad. They're kind of comfy clothes.
yeah, yeah.
So she'll
It
just
could
be
have,
like, if you don't.
it does look actually like she's wearing her pajamas underneath them.
Okay, she'll just in that case she'll just be like, if you don't mind getting dirty, it's just scrubbing this thing. It's really old and dirty.
Sure, yeah, I can help. She'll grab a sponge and start scrubbing.
Probably the other side of it
Hmm.
because it's pretty big and bulky.
So, how how have you found the past few days? How did you experience them? Is it bad?
Awkward. Weird. Trying not to think about it too much.
That's probably a good thing. It's a lot to take in. There's a lot more that we can tell you, but I was thinking it might not be the best to just break down everything in one go because you wouldn't be able to remember half of it, I guess.
Probably. I'm just going to keep asking questions as I go.
Part of our life.
You hear the loud steps of the only man who weighs that much to actually make the building tremble when he walks. Coming up the stairs, the obvious effect upon the plants. They shift, some of them bloom, some of them shift, stuff like that. And you see what looks like a wooden board, because Trey wouldn't do it justice. It looks like half a door just came up with various things on it. And shortly after, Boris appears and puts that huge board on the table. You see on it 3 Boris sized mugs, which, disclaimer, means almost pitchers, ceramic pitchers of something that's steaming. You see a plate, big plate of like these little balls of dough with some white stuff and some reddish purplish stuff on it, and a deep plate filled with something which you might presume is some meat with some sauce. And he places this plate on the ground and basically snaps his fingers. And Paris comes and just like digs in.
Grace will
Yeah.
kind of take in the fact that he's there with stuff, but does not really go over to him. She will, in fact, continue her conversation with Ava.
I mean, Ava, for her part, is definitely distracted, especially by the fact that Boris kind of snapped his fingers and, Paris would simply run up, almost as if he was giving the dog a command, which something that is kind of weird for a pup, and Ava has not yet been able to teach him anything yet. So she looks a little like not too happy about it because she expects like maybe magic involved, and she does not like it that there's magic used on her dog.
If you really want to go to town with this, roll me perception awareness, standard difficulty.
Sure,
I
yeah.
will, just because I can.
Actually, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Moment, because I need to set up the scene.
Yeah, maybe you should do that first.
Kind of funny. I called the scene in the basement, but now we're on top of the roof. I will remedy that after the scene.
It's oxymoronic.
Let's see. Perception awareness. What is my perception awareness?
I got 4.
I got 1.
Ava,
Mm-hmm.
Boris is pretty good at training dogs. Take it from like he's a life mage. He's got some years under his belt. Probably not the first pup he's seen. Probably not the first pup he's trained. Uh, Grace, you don't see any blood on Boris's fingers or on like his lips or anything, which you've probably seen by now is kind of Boris's thing.
Mm-hmm.
You see his fingers may be a bit dirty, but what he did is something more like you could hardly call it a spell. It's not a control, a type of control. Like he didn't control. It's maybe just a nudge to get his attention that might be increased by magic, but not something like not mind control upon the poor pup.
Well, Grace gets a very strange look on her face as she's kind of beginning to understand things that she doesn't really know how she understands them. You think about it, this is the first time awareness has actually worked for her.
Fair enough. Roll with it.
Yeah, so she just kind of, her jaw just sort of drops and she's totally distracted from what she's doing, like standing there, that the dirty streak down one side of her face as she's kind of just holding this dripping sponge and staring at Boris like openly. And
Boris,
then
Boris doesn't look at any of it. Boris looks at the dog and just like basically grabs himself a pitcher and a fork, like starts nubbling at those little pastries. Just looks at the dog and he's really happy.
and then she's gonna turn to Ava and be like, is it normal to just kind of feel what's happening?
And Ava will think on that, and shakes her head. It is normal to us. I think it has something to do with us being a little more attuned to these kind of effects. But like we don't pick up everything. It's not like we're some sort of a, I don't know, we're not a magical compass or Google search or something. It's just, I think especially when you're attuned to a certain sphere, you might be able to pick up things easier.
And understanding crosses her face at that because she already knows that she's knows some stuff about life apparently, and that so now it makes sense to her. Whether that's true or not is not the point. It just now she understands, and she'll just be like, "Oh, okay." I, well, I don't think he did anything major. Just a tiny something or other, a little push or something. But I don't think it was any kind of mind control.
I think if it was mind control, I would have been able to tell.
Good. Then I guess my thoughts are right. She's still kind of trying to puzzle it out in her head.
Boris puts his pitcher on the table and heads back to the greenhouse and comes back maybe less than a minute later with like a handful of dried leaves, and he puts it on. He drags a chair next to him and like puts it on that chair and like pulls out the pipe, stuffs it, lights it. And he's still looking at the dog, as apparently the dog is really hungry and that food is really good.
He's a pup, they're always hungry.
Dog's going to get fat.
Just means that I have to take him for many more walks. He's actually quite new. I haven't got him for more than a few days.
It's about as old as me, huh?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you were not born a few days ago, but in a way, I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Seeing no reaction from the two of you, Boris puts his pitcher down and grabs the other two. Just like moves between the two of you.
Well, what's in between us is currently the easel.
Okay, like okay, maybe not in front, like in front of the easel, and he just like half-heartedly extends these two pitchers to you, and looking somewhere between your feet, as in Ava's feet and Grace's feet, because that sounded awkward. Came out wrong. Like he's looking between the feet of the easel for easier reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out wrong. Sorry. No.
So awkward for Grandpa to be doing that.
Uh, moving onwards. Yeah, he looks between the feet of the easel and like he's getting cold.
Ava will look at Grace and then kind of gestures towards these pictures, and Boris says, "Do you want to take a break?"
I'm going to peony him.
Who, Boris?
Yes.
What do you want to find out?
She's trying to find out if it's a peace offering.
It's a very peace offering. It's as
Okay.
much of a peace offering as Boris is capable of.
If that is what he's going for, then because she just doesn't want to get into any more arguments or fights right now, but she's also not going to like avoid them. So if she's not put in the spot to have to argue it, then that's better. So she will kind of take a deep breath and kind of give Ava sort of a tiny little nod. And she'll put out a hand to accept one of these mug things. She doesn't even know what's in it. But sure.
Yep. Ava will slowly get like dump the sponge into the bucket, and we'll make her way over. Take the other picture.
To be fair, I probably would have to drop the sponge too, but apparently I'm a little late.
Yeah.
She was so thirsty, she had to run back.
That's fine, and she'll do that.
Saskia, what's Ava's strength again?
2.
Okay, so both of you are at strength. It's a pretty heavy pitcher because it's ceramic and it's pretty thick.
Well then,
Use both our hands.
well, considering what this is, I can't really use my left hand to hold it. So she'd have to put like one hand like kind of underneath it and the other hand on the handle. So she's carrying it definitely a bit awkwardly. Which, by the way, in the process of that, you would see there's a lot of scars on her left hand. Like on the top of it mostly, but just on her hands in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she'll take it and kind of hold it carefully that way.
Boris moves back to the table and to his pipe and to his own pitcher. Just for reference, the pitcher contains milk, like warm milk. And it has honey in it. Maybe just a little sprinkle of cinnamon, a little sprinkle of anise. Yeah. So it's spiced milk. That came out wrong.
Yeah.
It's milk with. Boris
Everything comes out wrong for you. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Boris is not gonna try to roofie you, Jesus.
No, that's spiked. That would be spiked milk, I think.
Yeah.
Not spiced. Spiced was okay. Spiked was not.
Anyhow,
no, she'll follow you over to the table.
It's milk with honey and spices. Period.
She'll follow you over to the table, sort of a few steps behind. You know, probably waiting for Ava to kind of walk over together.
Yeah.
It's kind of a girl thing.
Yep, Ava will follow.
Meanwhile, Paris is under the table, like probably almost halfway done with that plate by now. He's having the time of his life. Like he's licking the bowl, he's gnawing at it, he's eating, running around circles in the bowl, taking another bite, going for like a short run, like doing 2 or 3 laps around the courtyard, coming back, getting eating a bit more, just like, and then he just like after the plate is done, he just like almost licks it clean and like lies on his back like freaking Garfield.
Coma.
Yeah, like freaking Garfield. And for the sake of argument, yeah, he even starts to snore a bit.
Yeah, Ava will definitely pick the seat that's closest to Paris.
She just takes a seat. She's not picky.
Yes, basically have Paris like within arm's reach. Like if you like move a little and like bend a little, you could just like mess with his hair and stuff like that. And he looks at Grace and says, "Sorry about earlier. Is weird. American way is weird. Is uh, Tasha and Ava told me I don't read. He looks weird at Ava and back at Grace. Social cubes?
Cues.
Cubes. Yes, that's what I said.
Well, when you see a lot of people who are angry at what you're saying, it's usually a cue that either you're wrong or, well, I suppose maybe mind control magic might be a thing.
His thing. Of course, his thing.
She shrugs. I am getting really tired of my arm getting brought up by people that I don't even know.
What? Is Mary made you angry?
No, it didn't make me angry. She didn't. She was actually fairly respectful about it. She mentioned it and then told Nausicaa that I would tell her about it if I wanted to.
Yes, is normal. Is your body, you rule it. Is you decide to tell what you want to tell, who you want to tell. Is common
Aside,
logic.
aside from the fact that she actually brought it up.
Yes, we is sometimes is reflex for us to look at people and see general health, and sometimes you get more information, sometimes you get less. And
It was never really a secret. It's just really awkward to talk about.
it's no problem. You
She's just going to look at the two of them and she's going to like push her sleeve, because she was wearing that big hoodie, and it's wet anyway. So she's just going to kind of push it up. And you can see that her left arm is just kind of covered in all these scars. And many of them look like actually straight, like they're surgical scars.
Ava's not gonna comment on it. Like, she'll look at it, but she's not gonna make any comment.
That's fine.
Boris is gonna look at it, but he looks at it in a very, like, he looks at it, then looks back at you, then looks at it, then like he's not sure if it's okay to look at it, but he has.
She has it out right in front of you guys. Like it's kind of like, I'm just done with this game, And so she's, I mean, it's like right there. So if you guys wanted to do stuff, she's not. Anyway, it's up to you. It's your call if you want to do something. But she's just going to look at both of them and be like, my ex-husband felt that it was a good idea to come home very drunk one night, push me down the steps, and then kick me until I blacked out.
Boris turns crimson. Like crimson. With anger, like almost frothing at the mouth. And it takes him a second or two to regain his composure. And there's a bit of a smile on his face, and like he tries to like uh, ease out the tension and says, "So, how hard did you kick him in the balls after?"
I put him in prison. That's what I
Only,
did.
only prison?
Well, legally, it's, one of those things. You see, I blacked out. I woke up in the hospital and I wasn't going back.
No, you should go back. Boris pulls out from nowhere his little pocket sword and like stabs the table with it, and it goes in like probably a good inch and a half. It's like, no, 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 no. You go back. You kill bastard. He's
I don't want to kill him.
is worst thing you can do as man. How can you hit woman? Is cowardly, is against normal law, is against American law, is against. How can you be such cowardly bastard?
Well, thank you, but in reality, it's really wrong for anybody to do this to anybody, regardless of gender. And second of all,
Boris looks confused, but he's not gonna interrupt you.
and well, I don't want to see him again. I have moved on with my life. I don't want to deal with it. Like I have dealt with it. Let me rephrase that. I have dealt with it. I don't need him in my life, and he can rot in hell.
Then why not help him on the road to hell?
Because I'm better than him. I would never treat somebody the way like that, the way they treated me.
Yeah, Boris is like beyond confused right now.
Anyway, I was just putting it out there. I'm not ashamed of any of this because I survived. It is a mark that I'm a survivor. But it's actually not the nicest table conversation, or, well, you know what I mean. And she's looking specifically to Ava at this point as well, because she hasn't said anything yet.
When you look at the Ava, you can see that she seems to be focusing on Paris, looking at him. And she's grown a few shades paler since the beginning of this conversation.
Paris, in the meantime, is having like the best dream of his life. Like you can see his tongue's hanging out and he's lying on his back, and maybe that's like moving one of his back legs like reflexively sometimes. But yeah, he's basically in a food coma right now. He ate something really good, and there was a lot of it, and he's like, yeah, I can't snort like a dog. I have no idea how dogs snort, but
Yeah, like she seems to detach herself somewhat from the conversation.
Ava,
Yes.
I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable.
No, you didn't. I just don't like violence.
Neither do I. Of course, I couldn't fight him back, especially not at the time.
Boris takes his little pocket sword from the table, like puts his hand next to the tip, so like the table doesn't move as he pulls it out, and gives Grace a very understanding smile. So this, as he wiggles this freaking Bowie knife dagger sword in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
if you need this had this cut off scrotum's index before, and he puts it in his like sticks it in his boot. So if
I
you
am
want to borrow,
perfectly fine. I am fine if I never see his scrotum or dick ever again.
and he says, but if you want to borrow, it's room 2, and he holds up 2 fingers. You knock, you say, Boris, please give me knife to castrate bastard ex-husband. I give you. I help you if you want. I can hold him still. He's not as big as me. And Boris like straightens his back and broadens his chest, and
I'm sure this bastard X must in fact be, smaller than him. He's probably not too big of a person. I mean, at least the average guy size. I would think. I never really met. I don't even have a picture of the guy, so I have no idea.
no,
But
yeah, but Boris is like a walking wall.
yeah, he's big, so probably smaller than that for sure. I don't really need to talk about this much more. It's something that has simply happened. It just happened, like almost 9 years ago, and I've lived with the consequences since. It's just my life, and I don't feel the need to spend the whole time discussing it. So we can change the subject.
So, have you been in the basement yet?
No,
Sava will take this cue to turn this topic, or to turn this entire conversation away from awkward things in life.
yeah, and she'll pull the sleeve back down because it is cold, despite the fact that she was, it was wet anyway. But she will pull the sleeve back down at that point. I haven't, because I've been kind of warned off of the library without having somebody around. Although I've also been told that if I have a gift for the library, it helps. But I don't have a gift yet.
No, don't go to the library. The library throws stuff at you.
I heard.
It is okay if you have a gift. It does still throw books. The library. I'm not sure yet if it is a representation of the library or if it's a being living inside of the library, but there is an entity, a conscious being in the library.
So do you
Not
need a
everyone
gift? Do you need
can
a
see
gift
it.
every time?
No,
Just the
although
first
it
time?
does, yeah, although it does like to receive gifts. But the
Well, is
library
it?
is very old and it needs refreshing. So if you want to bring it a gift, a good gift would be a book that is relatively new or unique, but definitely not something it already has. Like it wants new knowledge.
Okay. Well, I'll work on that once I have access to my money. Right now, all I have are some botany books that Caleb forwarded the cash to me so I could have something to do besides sit and stare at the TV and, planting.
Why you need
Well,
why you need botany books? You've got Elijah, you've got me. We know plants.
that's fine, but I met Elijah afterwards and after I got the books, and you were busy. I can't do. Yeah.
There's nothing
So
wrong with books, Boris.
Is is learning about natural world, and he like stretches his arm to like the nearest plant and touches a leaf. How can you understand?
Oh, by the way, I should mention to you guys that aside from the section that whatever Boris had up there and like whatever
Mm.
Elijah has, which is the beehive and some plants, there's another little section of potted plants that mostly don't have plants yet, except for one, which is the tomato plant that you guys know about. But there's more of them that are planted now because she did a bunch of them like all day yesterday.
Uh, yeah. What would we? Yes, is it? Is learning by doing. Is learning the beauty of nature by touching nature, smelling nature. He gives a bit of a smile and like shakes his pipe. Smoking nature.
I have no problem with the idea of learning from you guys too, but I don't want to take all of your time, and I can easily find out what like the leaf of an oak tree looks like from a book.
Like, Boris, same insulted face as previous scene. Take up my time, but is great pleasure, is great honor to teach and pass on knowledge. Is very very nice, good tradition, very close to Boris' heart to pass on knowledge. Is wonderful thing. You just need to ask. Pause for dramatic effect out of character because Boris isn't gonna pause. Ava's gonna get this without rolling. And he says, yeah, you just need to ask Lisochka. And Boris freezes when he realizes what he just said.
Yeah, Ava looks sad for a moment, but she won't comment.
Actually,
I totally want a peony because she has no idea what the hell's going on here.
okay, you can peony Ava first then.
I'm gonna okay. If my 10th count, I've got because I have 2 specialties on this. What like detail oriented and sensing emotions. So
Okay.
Yeah, you're definitely getting the doubles on those tens.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. There is a that is a painful memory. Definitely on the word, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna pronounce it correctly, but Lisochka.
Yeah, you got it right. Congrats.
Oh, yay. um, yeah. There is a hint of sadness as something that's lost.
Okay.
With those amount of successes, I'm not even gonna ask you to roll because Boris isn't exactly the most subtle guy. Like he wouldn't. I don't think even his dice pool reaches 9. So anyhow, you have a feeling that that last word, Lisochka, was a slip of the tongue that Boris kind of regrets he said out loud in front of Ava.
Okay, so there's kind of a tension towards Ava now. Okay. I get it. No, that's cool.
Actually, Jesus, you rolled 9 successes. You figured out the fact that it was kind of their thing.
Okay. Yeah, she's not going to say anything. She's just going to sit there quietly while they deal with their own emotions. She understands that, and that's fine. But actually, to be fair, based on the situation, she does have curiosity. I better play it out.
Yeah, roll that.
It's a fail. It's not a botch, though.
It's felt. Yeah, you're gonna ask about it, and you're gonna
Well,
ask Ava because
but I don't have to be super rude about it, at least.
you don't have to be super rude about it, but you're gonna ask Ava because yeah, she's closer to your age.
Okay, well, to be fair, it technically would be my choice who I ask.
I agree with that, but
Okay,
hey.
on a fail.
Well, it would be my choice on who I ask, certainly. As long as I ask the question, it's just a curious about what's happening, not about a specific person.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, made the point.
But yeah, she's just gonna kind of look between them and be like, "What's that?"
Boris goes like an arrow, very fast for a man of his size and age, to the greenhouse. And out of character, I'll say be right back.
Ava will look at Boris walking away and says, It's it's what he called me when I Um, it's translated as little fox. Because of my hair color.
So this has to do with the news.
After that, yeah, I I cut off my hair and he changed the color. And some other things to make me look less like myself.
To be honest, you don't seem like someone who would do the kind of things that they said on there. I mean, I don't know you very well, but
I didn't. When, well, that night, I left this place. I was angry and upset, and I wanted to be alone and not here. Caleb followed me, tried to convince me to come back. And when he did, one of our enemy found us. It was that guy. And, well, we ended up fighting him, sort of. Caleb shot him. I was standing next to the guy. We ran away. We found our way back here, but the well, the security cameras, you probably have seen that on the news. They caught me, and since I was the only one that was recognizable, well, that's the situation that happened.
okay.
It's not a situation that I think. I mean, I think Caleb hates me for having to do that. And I hate the fact that we had to do that. It's my
He,
fault. And
he told me outright that he was the one who did it.
yeah, did. Because you need to know the truth. Because you need to know the truth of many things. But to the world, Ava Lindgren is a murderer.
Well, I mean, the news I saw didn't say that. They said you were some sort of an accomplice. But they didn't really know who the other person was. I think they gave a height or something of whoever the other person was. And that's it.
Caucasian male. And she literally lists like everything that they said about Caleb, which is really not much indeed.
It was like 5'9".
yeah, average height Caucasian male.
Yeah.
Average Joe.
But she has seen the article so many times now that she could literally quote it back, from front to back.
Kind of stuck here like I am, aren't you? At least more often. I mean, the difference is that for me, it's probably going to loosen up a bit.
Boris
I
comes
mean,
back and his face is red and he he doesn't look at you like at either of you. He just like looks in the ground into the ground. It's got like another handful of leaves. Stuffs his back, by his pipe again. Lights it. Takes like this really really big drag off of it, and you hear him tugging on it like it's the vacuum of space, like. um, he
Oh,
looks to Ava and says, "Sorry."
it's all right. It's not your fault. I'm not angry.
And something clicks in Boris's head. Says he doesn't even think, like switches to Russian almost reflexively. If you want, I can turn you back and have your old hair color, your old face. I did that to protect you. I didn't do it to hide you or something.
And Ava will answer in English because there's someone there. It's really rude to shut someone out. I know you changed me. You didn't do it because you felt like you had to. I know you did it to protect me. You don't need to change it back. You're right. For now, this is the best solution. It's strange though, looking in the mirror and not seeing yourself. I wake up every morning and out of reflex, when I look in the mirror, I see someone else before I recognize myself. It's just something I'll have to go through. It's my own fault after all.
She switches back to English. Yes. You look cute as blonde. You look pretty. Yeah. You're really pretty. You're still pretty. I can make you brunette, long hair, if you want.
I know, it's fine. It's a good reminder and keeps me out of trouble for now. Maybe
And
one day I'll be able to look like myself again.
and for if any of you are actually like looking at Boris for more than like half a second, you can see his eyes are red because he probably was crying.
that's what I
Uh,
was guessing. I already had kind of guessed that in character and out.
yeah, and he gives Ava a bit of a sorry smile and says, "Look on bright side. You'll leave Vodka now."
I don't really feel like a lion. Not even a little one.
It's like story with Wizard of Oz. See, you have little dog, but you're not Dorothy. You
I'm not as worried about the dog or Dorothy as much, but if you don't seem to be much of a lion, but I think you could be.
Nah, I wouldn't want to be. I'm not. I'm not someone. It would be a predator. I hope.
I was thinking more protective. There's a difference between being a predator and being protective.
She right, you know. You strong. You wise. You patient. You care for everyone in here. You are like lion mom taking care of cubs.
Well, I don't seem to be doing such a good job at it.
Everyone in this house is alive and safe. The bastards out there have one less fucker walking around. And if it makes you feel any better, Boris pulls out this little scroll from his pocket. And it's a picture of what you might be guessing it would be young Boris, very young Boris, Boris mid to late 20s. And Grace, yeah, it's everything is in Russian.
She's probably catches the few things that look vaguely familiar, but again, since I don't have
You,
the language, no
yeah,
specifics.
yeah, you recognize. I'm going to say you recognize. First of all, there's his picture and the sum underneath it, so pretty much you'd figure it out. Ava, you see, there's the logo, and both of you would recognize the logo of the Russian Communist Party in the upper left-hand corner. Because yeah, it's pretty much pop culture by now.
Mm-hmm.
Ava, you basically you can read out the specifics. It's basically a wanted poster for someone they called like the rabbit bear of Novosibirsk or something like that. There's a picture of like very young Boris, and there's like a to be shot on sight. Anyone that has any details of it will get the reward of like 1,000,000 rubles or stuff like that.
Oh boy,
This
rubles.
is yeah. Boris is Russian for fuck's sake.
I
Uh,
know.
this is an enemy of the socialist order of the
Actually,
People's Republic or stuff. What?
that would be Soviet Union, wouldn't it?
Hmm. It would be.
Yeah, Soviet Union. Sorry. Uh, it's 4 in the morning. Cut me some slack.
No, you're fair. It's fair.
Uh, yeah, this is an enemy of the social order of the Soviet Union, an enemy of our socialist communist state, a personal insult to the great works of Comrade Stalin. Half of it is propaganda, to be exact. And yeah, he just like unfurls this and like holds it up to your face.
She just blinks at the Soviet Union thing more than anything else.
I'm just gonna say you figure out Boris is old.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I get from it. Soviet Union old.
Soviet Union that still refers to Stalin old, to be exact.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will look at it as well.
Doesn't have a date on it, but it's old.
Mm.
By the way the paper looks and feels, it's old.
She's not going to comment on it. Her strategy lately has been not commenting on things.
And he rolls it on his leg and just shoves it into his pocket. And this was before TV and socialist media and Book of Faces and stuff like that.
Right. So, on a slightly random subject change, um, I figured out how to do something else today.
Boris's face lights up, switches completely from Ava, looks at you, big eyes, like waiting for.
Well, I was talking to Elijah, and he was telling me that usually the first step to really like down the road to mastering one of these spheres, is that the right word?
Hmm.
Yeah, is to be able to like perception, to be able to see whatever it is.
This is true.
Boris
So,
nods in agreement.
so I decided to I guess test it out in a way that felt right to me. And I remembered that Caleb had told me about this one that you can like see magic.
Boris like takes the plate of pastries who apparently everyone is ignoring and like makes room on the table and moves everything to the side and looks at her. Yes. And
And we were up here, and there was rosemary over there. As she points at the particular plant because it was one of Elijah's evidently.
she looks at her, looks at the plant, figures out she pretty much got it on the first try, and he nods a lot. Okay. So how do you do this?
So I plucked off a couple of the tiny little leaves since they are very small, and I realized that rosemary gives clarity. So I rubbed them between my fingers and I put them on my tongue so that it would, get into my bloodstream. Well, the saliva and then to the bloodstream, but you get the idea. And yeah, it was really interesting. His bees look very, very strange.
Boris stands up, goes to the neutral corner, which is basically his turf of the garden. Comes back with like a handful of rosemary leaves, puts them in front of you on the table.
You want me to do it again?
Practice makes perfection.
She shrugs. She has no problem with this. It was kind of like tripping balls with all the weird lines everywhere. Lights. It
Out of character, what are you doing here? Mine side or prime side?
was prime.
Prime side. Oh, I'm gonna have a field day.
Yeah. Um, yeah, she'll grab it because if you've ever seen rosemary, it's almost like a spew. It's easier to grab a sprig than to grab a leaf because there's just a whole bunch of tiny little ones.
And
But yeah,
Boris somehow managed it with his big bear-like hands.
yeah, I was just like they're tiny. But yeah, so she will do pretty much as she just described. She'll take a couple of them and kind of rub them between her hands so she can get the scent of it. Like
Mhm.
because rosemary has a very distinct scent. And then she'll pretty much open her mouth and place them on her tongue. And I suppose I'm rolling.
Roll me your attitude difficulty 4.
Nope,
You
not
get
today.
you get a certain feeling that it might get right. Like you start seeing some like little spots of light here and there. but it flickers and goes away.
Thank you for not botching. And she's just like, that didn't work this time.
Like I said, sometime magic not work, sometime it work. Try again.
She nods. I mean, that obviously she knows she's a total newbie, so she's not shocked that you retry it.
For no, actually roll and we can talk later.
As long as it's not a botch, hey. There we go.
One success.
That's almost the same thing. I got like a 3 and a 5 the first time.
Hey. So prime site activated.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you cast it the last time? Was it in the greenhouse or where?
It was in the greenhouse. That's where they met each other at.
Yeah, okay. Things are gonna get interesting. Boris glows like he's made out of freaking uranium. There's this green, strong color, vivid color of him. He radiates probably like 10 inches off of him. You see Ava's aura, which I'll leave her to describe.
Can I see my own? If I look at myself, like my feet or something?
Yep. If you put your hands around you, you've got like this little glowing halo thingy. But off the top of my head, I don't know which color means what. And Grace wouldn't know either, so.
No, but green thumb.
Yeah, but green thumb. Yeah, so you've got like specks of green in your aura.
I think it's bigger than that. Let me look, because I actually have the write up right here, so I'll just look really quick.
It's a merit, not a right.
Correct. Green thumb. Your aura pulsates with green vitality. So it sounds bigger than just a few flecks.
Yeah, okay, no, it's but there's a I thought it was fixed. And I'm confusing it with a different one. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so you get the color of your current mood with like a lot of green around it, and like a bit of a pulse, like a beating heart.
If it's aura colors, then I think Ava's is probably a bit grayish, if I have the color correct.
Yeah, because depression kind of leads into the grays and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it might be grayish.
She doesn't know how to translate any of the colors.
It's a grayish blue.
Okay.
There you go. It's a grayish blue.
All right.
And if you look around you, you figure out there's actually, even though this is supposed to be an open roof, it's not. You see transparent vines that basically form walls from like the edge of the roof all the way up to like a sort of a ceiling. So it's like a little case in here. This apparently wallless, roofless roof has another roof, like a proper roof and walls. But they're made from this like little tiny sprigs of ivy, of like glowing, semi-transparent dim ivy. And as you bring your gaze forward again, it fades out and you're back to your normal sight again.
Yeah, so she's basically looking around wildly for like, I don't know, a couple of minutes.
And one success.
Okay,
it's only one success. It's going to be probably best case scenario. It's going to be a minute.
Okay, then a minute, whatever amount it is. And then, as it all disappears, she looks a little disappointed, but it really did the same thing today. She's not too shocked by it, so. And she'll just kind of blink and be like, "Well, I saw a lot of colors around everybody, around all of us, we had different colors. And there's some sort of vines. As she sort of gestures in the vague area that it was.
Very good.
What do the colors mean something, or are we just rainbow people?
I don't know what rainbow people is, and I'm guessing there is people that go in marches on boulevards, people with rainbow flags.
I wasn't thinking of them, but sure.
But is no, it doesn't matter. They're nice people. They're very nice people. I cook for them at some point.
You and I have a bunch of green.
Yes, because we are mages of nature. We are witches. Is strong connection to nature. That's why you pot plants so well. Vines, you see, is protection spells. Is why here is worm. Is why no one sees you when you get up here. Is why is worm. Is why random things don't fly in. Is why reception is weird on mobile cellular phone. Yeah, he actually calls it a cellular phone. Is defense. And colors, yes, mean things. Mean if you magic or not, if you wizard or not, if you witch or not, if you happy, if you sad, if you strong, if you weak, if you human, if you vampire, if you werewolf, if you magic object, if you
Wait, yeah, you were talking about them earlier. I mean, I guess I'm not overly shocked that they exist, but seriously, like they're real?
They are.
yes, vampires are aberrations that need to be killed on sight because they are uh how how I know someone put it in very nice way. Uh and he makes air quotes using the wrong fingers. Blood sucking bastards that like kissing their own asses.
Sounds like a lot of people I know.
And no. These literally go out in the sun and they go poof and die. Uh, werewolves depends on werewolves. Some are really nice. Some are kind of assholes. Good fighters, really good fighters. Uh, really good drinkers too. Big guys, really big guys. But yeah, they usually nice people. I don't know how change like full moon, never. I don't know. Had a couple of drinks with them years ago near St. Petersburg. Long story. Fairies are thing, but they really weird and have these weird, really weird parties, weird stuff. Long time ago, weird things. Ghosts are thing. Mm, let's see what else.
Ghosts. Okay. Well, we were talking about spirits earlier, so I suppose spirits, ghosts, I get the idea. No, I was just kind of, I mean, I just don't know what I can do. So I was kind of just decided to try that one and see what happened.
So it work. You remember this. You use it when you need. Is very useful thing to know.
She nods.
Best thing with magic is to basically do what feels right for you
Mhm.
and see what happens.
Yeah, that's kind of what that was. I mean, I was in a place I felt. I mean, I'll be honest, this place isn't exactly comfortable, but like the roof feels more like My place,
Why is
and the
not comfortable?
Because it's not home, Boris.
because it's not my home. My home is in Brooklyn. However, I can't go back there.
Not for a
But
while.
you have friends here? You have
I have
sad.
people I have people that I know, many of whom argue amongst themselves clearly, and someone who wanted to leave me off in the middle of the woods.
Yes, but over here is weird because um Tasha likes to say is like frat house after midterms. I don't know what that means.
It feels a lot like a dorm room, and I'll be honest, I kind of outgrew dorm rooms a long time ago.
I think the problem with us is that none of us chose to be here. It's not
I'm
that we're not happy that we are here, because the
Yeah.
alternative is not good, but
No, you'll be happy when you'll stop seeing it as curse. It's great honor and great blessing. You keep seeing it as curse.
No, I don't actually see it as a curse. I think it's cool as hell that I'm learning to do this stuff. I just would prefer to do it from my apartment in Brooklyn,
With no protection and no supervision?
which is exactly why I'm here. But it wasn't a choice.
Is same reason why you don't learn to shoot gun by yourself. Same
Actually,
thing with magic.
I'm okay with supervision. I'm okay with learning. I am okay with being in a safe place. Definitely. I don't want to die. I'm not an idiot. But my family lives in Maryland
So wait for Tasha to get papers. Go visit.
so that I can bring the suits after me to my family,
If you're careful, you don't bring anyone with you. I have family back home. Some family. Some of them are mages. Most of them are mages. Okay, all of them are mages. And he
but
like slumps.
okay. Well, that's not how it is. I learned how to garden from my mom, but it doesn't make her a mage.
however, if you take a car and like don't force attention on yourself, I agree with Boris. You should be able to visit them because Maryland is not that far away.
Really? So I don't have to just like, because
You have to be
I've had
careful.
other people tell me that I just kind of won't even get to see them again.
It you have to be careful, and it might help if you learn how to place some shields around you. But I don't see a reason why you could not visit them.
Grace looks just immensely relieved. Like she doesn't care about her living situation as much as she cared about her family. You know what I mean?
Besides, is you were not taken to clinic, right?
She shakes her head.
Yeah, like there's a deep intake of breath from Ava. She looks again highly uncomfortable.
Then
Um,
probably they do not have a file on you, so you might be safe if you just don't attract attention. And is is how is something, yeah, Tasha told me it's called Hogwarts rule. Don't do magic outside Chantry for the moment unless you have to. And when I say you have to, is means life or death.
she nods. Okay.
But can you explain what is words on hog have to do with not doing magic outside Chantry?
It has to do with some books and some movies that take place in a school called Hogwarts, and that is the rule if you're learning magic at Hogwarts.
That is very stupid name for school.
It's a children's book.
Still a stupid name for school.
Well, then you should really hear the song that they have to sing. They're like, if I recall, it has something like "Hoggy Hoggy Hogwarts" in it.
No, no, no. I don't want to hug words on hog.
Okay, don't then. None of us really want to do that.
I think what is something that might be important to know about most of us is that the biggest part of this group of mages that you meet here, we came from this clinic. So most of us are, well, we have very good reason to be scared and to not want to go back there. All of us were in there for a couple of weeks or months.
So are you saying that maybe people telling me that kind of thing might be some kind of paranoia thing? Is that what you're trying to say, or
It is that some people might overreact because they are scared of what happens if one of us get caught. If they find out that we are here, if they find out a way to lure us out or to get into this place, we all get sent back. For a lot of us, that is a very tangible but very relatable fear. For instance, I know, and I'm not supposed to talk about other people without them being here, but Nausicaa is
you don't have to say anything? I already get it. She's made her feelings clear about that sort of thing.
she's rude, but mostly because she's afraid of going back there.
I had a feeling there was more to it.
Yes, is basically this clinic technocracy has is called Zeta Clinic. Is like Mage Gulag, and I know you like to experiment things, but I'm guessing getting caught by big bad bastard police is not on your bucket.
I mean, we're all kind of experimenting a little, really, right? So,
You want to experiment Gulag?
No,
well, no, I said here, and you're acting like I'm the only one who's experimenting, and
no.
I did it here in a perfectly safe place.
Boris is trying to say don't experiment outside, which you
Right.
already know because it's been told several times.
Yeah.
But we're overemphasizing the point again because we are scared. They are more in numbers and maybe not more powerful than people like Boris or Tasha, but definitely more powerful than the rest of us here. So chances are big that when we get caught, there is little to no escape, and if we escape, you end up in a situation much like myself.
Yet you learned most important lesson of them all. You and Caleb too. They are like us. They can be killed.
I do not wish to kill them.
They wish to kill you. You should at least return favor.
No,
guys, I get what you're saying, and I didn't do any of that on purpose, but from what people are telling me, apparently I've killed some. It happened, I guess.
we killed people of them on our way out of that place. All of us did. It doesn't make you any worse off than the rest of us.
Right. I'm not saying that. My point is just none of us, I guess in theory, none of us are alone in having dealt with that.
Uh,
I'm not beginning to compare my experience to yours any more than you would compare your experience to getting the shit kicked out of you at the bottom of a set of stairs. You know? Our experiences are our own.
of course. Like every mind has their own way of working out things that happening to them.
Yeah. I will keep what you say in mind. Honestly, that's part of the reason like one of the big reasons why I haven't just like basically yelled at Nausicaa. Because she's been incredibly rude to me for no reason at all.
No, she weird like that.
She's not weird.
No,
She
she weird.
has no. She has difficulties with social situations, and combine that with what I've just told. I think her response makes sense in her own way. She doesn't see what she's doing to others.
Yeah, You
And it's
you
almost never meant out of malice.
you tell me I don't do good in social situations. Yet I speak to people and I'm nice to people. Nausicaa is not nice to people.
Are you saying
I
that you
can't be
and
like
Nausicaa
Nausicaa.
are the same?
Actually, there was a moment earlier that she was nice.
Boris like starts like his lower lip comes out and like he makes this like little sad puppy face, which is very funny coming from a guy this big and this scary. But but I can get you things and make sure you're comfy and make
You are
food
you are nice too, Boris.
and make and he basically pushes the plate that everyone's ignoring and I make donuts.
I'm not in the mood for donuts, but thank you.
Yeah, so basically these little things are like these little ball donuts, like about the size of a meatball, covered in cream and jam.
That's fine, but yeah, she's just like she's actually a relatively healthy eater. Um, so the milk she's actually had a few sips of the milk, but she
Mm.
just doesn't really want the sweets.
Abba
Though
will
that
take one of the donuts.
it's basically Boris cooking. Boris is cooking, which is like
I
mama's
mean,
home.
she more or less does it to please Boris, but yeah,
Yeah, but they're good.
they are.
They probably are good, but just not Grace's thing. I mean, she'll eat sweets occasionally, but it's not a compulsion like some of my other characters have
Yeah,
been.
for further references, everything that Boris uses is as organic as you can get.
That's fine, but it just isn't her to her taste. That's not
Yeah,
really the
fair enough.
point. Um,
Boris, you and Nausicaa are both nice in your own unique way, as everybody has a unique mind and spirit.
No,
You are
I,
also
I,
rude
I,
in your own and unique ways.
why am I rude?
You are sometimes.
Why?
Why? Because
you made
you
us
mean
you
well in a lot of situations, but it sometimes just comes out pretty wrong, and you judge us according to your standards, which are not standards that we judge ourselves by. And it's okay that you judge us for it, but don't call us out on it.
Boris scratches his head.
you shouldn't judge us based on our gender.
But this. Boris
You make me
basically
feel as
face palms.
you made me feel as though I'm incapable of having lived on my own for much of the last 10 years.
Who said that? I did not say that.
You kind of did.
Oh, Boris like rubs his temples. He looks at Ava. LWoD's gonna.
Hmm.
We had this conversation. Please explain to her because my English is not that good.
It really would be better if you would explain for yourself. But as she turns to Grace, the tradition that Boris comes from, it is an honor to do the things that he considers are the jobs of women. It's something that is difficult to change for him, I guess.
Everybody's capable of change.
I agree.
Boris looks even like there's a mixture of frustration and confusion and a bit of disappointment looking at Ava because
I
in
mean,
his
I
mind,
don't have eidetic memory in real life, neither does Ava. It's been months ago.
yeah, but like Boris turns to Grace and says, "Is kind of like that, but is no point in changing. Is been our tradition since first men walk Earth. We do this for thousands of years. It's work. You saw Mary, right?
I did.
She one of the most respected members. Most of our chantries are run by women. Most of our highest mages are highest mage." And he raises his finger like way above his hand, like stretches out his arm. "Our highest mage is woman. Most respected woman in my tradition. Most respected mage that ever set foot in my tradition. That was ever blessed to be born in my tradition. Why you take it as insult? Making children is wonderful thing. Is
Yes, it
honor.
is. Yeah, well, it wouldn't go so far as to say it's an honor, but certainly is a natural thing for a female to do.
Is honor and joy men can never experience.
I mean, like I said, it's simply the way we're built in a biological way. I don't have any particular problem with the idea of women having children because we should have children if we want to have them.
You're starting to sound like Elijah.
What's wrong with that?
Technology nonsense.
I'm not super technology, but I mean, I have spent a lot of time in school. I have a master's in psychology. I understand the way these science in a general idea works.
Psychology, is that the one where you see why people are mad?
That's one way to put it. Yes, we try to
See?
help. We try to help people work through their problems so that they can cope better and live their lives more fully.
You're perfect example. Perfect example of what you stand for. You strong, you smart, you independent. What is wrong in being woman on top of all this?
There's nothing wrong with being a woman on top of all that. In fact, most of it happened because I am a woman.
No, this happened because you had very, 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 very bad luck to meet very, very, very bad man who, if I ever see face to face, I will send him to you in little 1 pound bags.
I don't really want him in any size bag. Thank you. You sent him somewhere else. No, what I'm saying is, I really didn't have any particular goals for my life. I went through school. I went to high school. I did all this, all the things you do in high school. I meet this guy. He's a great guy. We get along really well. I fall in love. In theory, he falls in love. We decide, like idiots, to get married when I'm 18. It happens. Kids get married. All of that would be fine if it hadn't been for the way everything changed and the way I let him change me. Until finally, there's this big moment where I black out and I don't even remember the end of what happened there. In the end, what he did to me gave me a purpose. He gave me what I needed. His actions, while not actually giving me strength, that would definitely come from somewhere within myself, and probably I would say my family definitely helped there. But while it did not actually give me the strength, it gave me a reason to learn my own strength.
So I still no figure out why I'm wrong. Why you say I'm wrong? Why I say I'm wrong?
Because generations of men have used the exact same words that you are using to bring women down.
Why bring women down?
They have used
We
the
are
same words, and now you use them. And even if you don't mean them that way, I can accept that maybe you don't mean them that way. But when you say it that way, it just does nothing but remind us of the history of our gender. And isn't the whole point of this our perception of this, right? I'm not the only female that's felt like this.
because of the same reason why you feel like this, because you met idiots.
Just what?
She says because you met idiots.
It's more that you say that we should do something because it's tradition. We should be the one in the kitchen because it's tradition. And we're saying that we want to choose whether we are in the kitchen or are working late or are driving a cab to earn money and have
Or taking care
men
of the
be in the cook.
plants, or going to help, or going to the funeral of a homeless woman, like I was, whatever it is.
What we basically were saying is that you say that we should be somewhere where we say that we are strong and independent woman and we choose where we are, whether that is in the kitchen or somewhere else. It's our choice.
And I have no problem with cooking. I'm not even all that bad of a cook. I've had to do it for myself. It's not about whether we're cooking or whether we're raising babies. It's about the fact that we want to choose, not just because of some tradition.
Try cooking for these picky, ungrateful bastards. It gives you a bit of a smile.
No, we're grateful that I'm grateful that you've cooked for me, and I would be happy to take over some of that, especially until I get my life straight.
You know I've cooked for you all as well.
And you good cook. I don't know why you don't like it.
I
I mean,
like it. I just do not want to be seen as the cook. It is not what I am
Why? Why?
because I
Why
want
if
to
you why?
choose.
Ava, why if you cook out of character? It's probably one of the few, if not maybe even the first time he called you by your name.
Mm,
Um, why if you cook and only cook? Why if you cleaning lady and only cleaning lady? Why you see so narrow?
it's nothing to do with narrow. I don't mind being the cook for an evening or when there's something fun and I like, or even when I just like it and feel like it. Then I don't mind being the cook. And it's not me who sees it narrow, it's society and history.
mm-hmm.
And
This
from
is
that
not
point on,
this is not society.
it
No, no,
And
no.
is.
our
It,
and our
But it's where we grew up.
it's
it's not
exactly how we grew up. Are you a female? Are you a woman? Did you grow up as a woman the way we did?
no, but I grew up with a lot of women that were respected,
That's
that were
fine,
valued,
but
that
you don't know our mindset. You don't have all this stuff drilled into your head from the time you're 2 years old and you're given a Barbie instead of a car.
It has to do
why not play outside?
it has to do with stereotyping. And
Which is something idiots do.
yes, but
Yes.
that does mean that most of our society not too long ago considered those idiots to be, well, determining the leading essence of our society, the leading rule.
Yeah,
And
that's because our, and he makes a circle with his finger. Our history is not there, and he points to wherever, not
and
This
their
the,
history.
this also
the
seems to be a bit of a culture clash because I grew up here. You grew up somewhere else entirely in a totally different time frame.
He gives you a bit of a smile when you say that.
All
and it's not
respect.
even that we mind. We don't mind that you are. We don't mind the way that you intend it. But when you say that a woman's place is in the kitchen, to us, that means that we should only be doing that because that's how we grew up.
Or cleaning, or I should be barefoot and pregnant somewhere popping out babies. And that's it.
It's not best thing to be barefoot, especially on this weather. You can catch cold. And what is wrong with being pregnant and making babies?
It's
If
not, but it's not the only purpose that we have.
Of course, it's not the only purpose you have.
No,
but
but
that's
that
how it
is
sounds.
exactly.
That is how it sounds, and you need to think about how your words come out to other people.
And
It's not
because
my
then
fault
it
my English
becomes
is bad.
rude.
It's not English that's the problem. It's the words you choose, and you're choosing the wrong ones.
He face palms again.
You could just say, "Hey, can one of you cook tonight? I'm tired." And we'd be like, "Of course, we'll be happy to help,"
Of
without
course.
bringing up gender.
You kids so soft, so sensible at words. So yeah.
We're sensitive because we have to be, or people are going to stomp on us.
Who's gonna stomp on you?
The world. A lot of idiots will do it.
He he he,
Considering that I've literally been stepped on,
he looks at Grace, and his face goes dead serious, like in the picture, blank, dead serious, death gaze, eye contact, death gaze, and his elbow rests on the table, and he starts like putting up fingers. You strong, you wise, you beautiful, you independent, you kind. You have in you a gift that people would kill for. You've got witch blood in you. You have power to bend world around you, to make world around you better, to make people around you better. And you get hurt by words. You are a witch. You should be proud. You should be strong. You should not let people say you can't do something or you have to do something. I'm saying I keep the tradition of my people. I keep the tradition of my tradition. That came out wrong, but anyhow, you get the point.
there are.
I keep the order that has kept us alive and safe. I'm not saying you should cook because you are a woman. I'm saying because you are a woman, you should cook. So the men can do what men have to do. So you can be safe.
But I've been
So you
doing
can
all
be
the things
protected.
that I've been doing all the things that men should be traditionally doing from since I was let's see, since I was 18.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
instead of having good, smart, supportive, kind, loving husband, you were very, very, very unlucky to find fucking bastard. It happens. I'm sorry for that.
That isn't the point. What if the point is I am capable of doing all the things that you say a man should be doing. Why should I not do them? I don't need to have a guy around specifically to do these things.
Because you shouldn't do it then.
Why should I
Shouldn't
not?
have to. Shouldn't have to.
But if
But
I
we
choose to,
exactly we choose to do this.
Like Boris's mouth just freezes open, and like the confusion on his face is like beyond words. No, he's
We want to live the lives you want to live, whether we want children or don't want them, whether we want to work or not work, whether we want to go to school or not go to school, or whether I have Chinese for dinner. We want to live the life we want to live.
try eating from Lee's 3 nights in a row. You're gonna come begging back to me to make you stew.
I would be grateful for your stew. I still haven't tried Lee's yet.
I think the only people that survive on Lee's food is Nausicaa and probably quarter of Bronx.
In today's world, you choose the words that just remind us of everything that we've had to fight for the well, really hundreds of years, but more strongly over the say the last 100. We used to not have the vote here.
Because of idiots.
Idiots who had power.
Idiot with
idiots.
power is only idiot with power, is not automatically smart.
No, but idiots or not, it is what we've been taught. Well, maybe not our generation anymore, but we are proud of what our mothers, our grandmothers have achieved in this world. And
Yes, you are also taught that magic is something in fairy tales and children's books.
speaking of traditions, how much, like, I know how much you respect traditions, and I have nothing against that. You say that you are doing things ever since the first men were around, but the world has changed, society has changed, many things have changed. Where are men going to hunt for food nowadays? In the supermarkets?
And
You
most
can hunt in the supermarkets.
and trust me, I know a lot of families where the wife does all the shopping.
Mm. The thing is, the world has changed since we were sitting in caves, and even since we were sitting in castles and having knights in shining armor defending our honor.
Which,
And
to be fair, only worked for the noble women, anyways. You could do whatever you wanted to the cleaning woman.
and even when you continue to look further up in the timeline, oof, he's gone. Huh. Well, that point's moot.
Yeah, sorry, I
He
got
is
caught.
back.
He's back. And even when you look further up in the timeline, it has always been that same role model. But things have changed. People learned how to build houses, first from wood, probably, then from stone. People have learned to build castles and palaces. People have invented the car, economy, currency, literature, and all these things. And nowadays we have computers and cell phones and internet. The world has changed so much around us.
The moment you say cars, computers, and so on, that like there's a face of disgust on Boris's.
The world has changed so much around us, and we want to change along. We do not want to hold on to these traditions where a man goes hunting with a spear or a bow and arrow, because our world has grown beyond that. Our minds have grown beyond that.
we think families should form in the way that works best for each people, for each whatever combination of people makes a family. Whether it's a man or woman, two women, it's nine non-binaries, whatever it is that forms the family, they should work it out with who goes to work and who stays at home for the kids on their own. Because why does that matter to anybody? Like, who does it, as long as it's done?
No, you lost Boris in this. You lost Boris big time in this.
Doesn't matter. She still would have said exactly the same thing. The point being, things have changed.
And we respect that you uphold your traditions, but let us make our own choices. We respect yours. And respect ours as well. That's basically the only thing we're asking.
You know you can try to do things like I suggest and see if it works. If it not work, try something different. I try to share with you what works for me with magic, with life, with everything.
I know.
And you make me feel like I am bad man for trying to share with you what I have learned in all these years.
It's just the stuff on gender that we're really questioning. It's not your teaching methods. We're not trying to invalidate you as a person.
Would you want me to go out and find a husband like a year ago?
Why a year ago? You find husband when you want husband, when
Yeah,
you
no,
find good husband.
but tradition dictates that as soon as I have my first period, I should be married off.
Whose tradition?
General tradition in many cultures.
Medieval history, there's a lot of medieval from a period kind of things.
Not
No, no,
even
no, no.
that. Look at African cultures or
Okay, fair.
Southern American, even Asian. A lot of women are married off when they have their first period because
When
that's
they're
the
like
moment.
13.
Exactly, that's the
Yes,
moment when
but
they
that is not
decide to be women and fully grown.
that
So,
that is not our way. And he like points at himself. That is not our way.
But you're
You get your first period as a woman among us. You are full member of society. You've got full responsibilities and a voice. We do things very democratic. Everyone has a word to say. You are adult at that point. You are no longer girl, you are woman. No other difference. You marry when you want to marry, who you want to marry. But marry and make children because we die if not.
well,
so
there
there
are
is not a choice there. You say, but Mary.
Yes, but I'm not saying marry that guy or at this age or at that age.
No, but if I wait too long, I will no longer be able to get children. And how many children should I get? Because
As
you're saying we're dying. So should
make
I get
as
10?
make as many as you want and as many as you
And what if I want
like.
to make none?
Why? Why
not every
Because
wouldn't you?
not everybody wants children.
Why not?
because maybe I feel that I would be an irresponsible parent. Look, I just shot a guy. I've been wanted. Do you think it would be smart to have a kid?
Boris picks up the little wanted poster and like shakes it in front of Ava again.
Yeah, but as you said, that was before the Book of Faces.
Yes,
My kid would be
you
on
know
the
how
street.
many of this was printed?
No. Like, I don't know how I would know that information. Obviously, there are always good times and bad times to have children. But there are some people that simply aren't built to have babies, or that just they're wise enough to realize that they wouldn't be good parents, or they just don't want the responsibility. And there are usually millions of people out there who are having more children than they really should, so it kind of balances out. Believe me, there are situations that children should never be brought into.
Of course, but you call me the weird one for saying this, but is I don't know, is maybe I'm old, or maybe you don't see my point, but is anyhow. And he sighs like, yeah.
I understand that for you it is a noble thing to do, but for us it's different.
It actually, I would still say it is a noble thing to do, to have children, to put your body through that, to raise them in a good way, so that they have values and are productive members of society. I think it's very noble, but it isn't for everybody.
I agree. And I think it is something that you should think about, whether you can support a child or whether you can take the responsibility.
Yes, but you are not common women. You witches.
I do not quite think I would qualify as one of your witches. I am
I don't
not
have a
that one
problem.
with nature.
I don't have a problem with the term. I just don't. Not quite there yet.
What you call female wizard is witch.
I would prefer to go by the universal form of mage. I am a mage.
Mage is weird word. But yes, okay, yes, many traditions like mage. Okay, you mage, but witch has is very beautiful thing. It's very noble thing. If you think I'm sexist,
No,
why do you think
No,
it's great? Why do you think it's great honor as a man to be called a witch?
no,
I did not say that.
we don't think witch is sexist. Nobody's claiming that.
I just feel uncomfortable being called that.
Because you used to big scary witches, old, big nose, broom, black cat.
Well, if you look at Scandinavian culture and our mythology, then yes, witches are usually referred to the evil form. Now I understand that is not the case. It doesn't mean that it makes me comfortable. Same as it does not make me comfortable when I'm called Helen. Helen. What was the word? I don't even know anymore what name I have on my new identification. It's not me.
I had to change my face and my name many times. I'm still Boris. This problem you don't change on inside, not one outside.
That's probably easier to say having done that several times and also being a life mage where she is not.
She can learn.
And it's her first time.
She can learn. All of you can learn. Is useless if you great battle wizard, battle mage, battle witch, battle is useless if you can throw fireballs if you stick to bed once you get cold.
I'm not planning to be a battle mage. I would never do battle.
I don't really know what my plans are. My plan right now is to try to be able to leave this place and, not bring the, what was it, the technocracy?
Technocracy, yes.
Thank you. The technocracy down on us. That's kind of my big goal of the moment.
They call themselves Technocratic Union, or
Oh,
the Union, or the Technocracy, or the bastards in black suits that want us dead, or whatever insult you are more comfortable with.
I doubt they call themselves that.
I thought they call us by our proper terms.
That does not mean that we cannot at least address them properly.
No, they do not respect us. Why we should respect them?
Because I would want that respect. And if I'm not giving respect, how can I well, accept or expect, I mean, sorry, any respect in return?
I don't actually expect respect from them. So therefore, I have no problem calling them whatever I want to call them. They were chasing me down with a gigantic gun.
Boris gives you a smile and he nods and says, "Yeah, you smartless." And the first syllable comes out of his mouth, and like he puts his hand over his mouth, but like basically there's a slap. There's like a hard slap over his mouth.
What did he say? I didn't even
Just
catch it.
yeah, he managed to like the first syllable less came out of his mouth and like managed to slap his mouth before he ended up calling you Lisochka again. Because yeah, you're the ginger kid around now.
That's true. She is, I suppose. And I have no other pictures of Felicia Day without red hair, so she's hopefully going to stay that way. Um, she just kind of blinks at that and doesn't really make a comment. Um, you might think we're young, too
You are.
young to. Granted, maybe compared. I mean, on the other hand, I'm pretty sure I'm older than her.
You are.
Right. So I guess the point is whether you can tell us that we're young. You can write off what we how we feel about things. But in the end, we're still people. And if you're trying not to hurt our feelings, you might at least take that into consideration.
But what about Boris's feelings?
We don't say things that hurt your feelings as far as I know. We're just trying to be
You
honest and truthful.
you want to get rid from. You want to get free from. And he makes air quotes. Bad air quotes again. Boris air quotes. This place, I try to cook. I try to clean. I try to make you feel nice, to feel like home.
And I'm
Get you
grateful.
pillows. I wash bed sheets. I wash pillowcases. I wash pillows. I dust.
You don't have to do all those things. We can split up the chores. That's no problem. I'm not, that isn't the issue. I'm more discussing,
This place. Why this place? What
I
is
think
wrong with this place?
because I'm used to being independent and having my own apartment and my own life where I don't have to, where I leave my bedroom and I don't run into 8 people who I don't know.
Then go back home if this place is so bad.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not the life any of us chose. But we're all here and we're all trying to make the best of it, I think.
Then go join technocrats if you want fancy apartment and big job and car
It,
and nice place to live.
did I say that?
No, but honestly, this place,
I didn't say any of those things, Boris, and I apologize if it came off that way. I don't own a car. I don't make a lot of money. And what money I do make usually ends up going to like buy a homeless woman like clothing or something because they come in and their stuff is so lice infested that I feel horrible giving it back to them.
I can teach you how to do easy trick to kill lice.
Except that I can't do magic outside of this place right now. But
I know
I would happily take the tip. Yes.
I know how to teach you things like stuff to put on clothes so lice die. Not necessarily magic is a bit of the DI DIY.
DIY? Like do it yourself.
Yeah, DIY. Yeah, it's a bit of DIY.
I will listen to that later. And I appreciate the, if you know some tip on that.
But still, and you can see he's a bit ticked off, and he like stands up, puts his pipe back in his pocket, and takes the little plate of donuts. Until you get accustomed to this place, no donuts for you. And he takes the plate and just goes.
Grace kind of sighs as he walks off. I wasn't trying to hurt his feelings.
I know you weren't.
I'll talk to him later when he's calmed down a little bit. I am grateful to have a place to be if I'm.
I think we all are. But I do understand what you mean. The way I planned for things, I would be at university now. And I would live in a dorm, so I guess that's not too much of a difference for me. But
I never lived in a dorm. I lived with my mom and dad. Well, my mom. I lived with my mom after everything went to hell. And I got my shit together and I went to school.
I used to live with my parents when I was still. I'm I'm from Sweden, so I used to live with my parents when I went to university there, but I was gonna do this exchange program.
I see.
I never even made it out of the airport. Well, I mean, I made it out of the airport, but that's how they picked me up. I was at the airport and they, well, sent basically a car. I thought it was a cab to get to Colombia, part of the exchange program, but it was not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It happened, and
It does matter. It's something you experienced, and it matters. That doesn't mean you have to tell me about it. But don't
there's not
put your.
much more to tell.
I'm just saying, don't put your experiences aside and act like they don't matter.
I find it difficult to think about it.
Well, if you do decide you want to, I know we're not friends or anything, but I mean, it's kind of what I do.
At least it will be good to have someone around who actually cares about other people's feelings. It's people are trying here, but a lot of people find it difficult to think outside of their own comfort zone.
This whole thing is outside of my comfort zone. Kind of thought when I moved out of mom's house that I wasn't going to need to move back in or need to move into a dorm.
We all find our different places here. I have a bedroom, but most of my time I'm actually in the portal room. It is more quiet in the basement, although it's also colder.
I feel I'll probably be up here a lot. Not only are the plants here, but I'm going to leave the easel here too. I mean, look around. There's so much more interesting things to paint than the walls of my bedroom, you know?
I'm sure in time we'll find ways to regain our freedom to at least do what we want. It's, I guess, difficult for Boris to understand that we did not choose this. It does not mean that we are less grateful, but
Maybe I'll make him something. Make him a cake or something and try to make it up to him a little bit.
I'm sure you would appreciate that.
I really want to call my dad and ask him if he has any recipes.
I mean, if you want to, you should talk to either Tasha or maybe Nausicaa. Like, I mean, we all have cell phones.
Oh, I got another phone. Caleb got me one. But I was going to see if Nausicaa would want to look at it or anything before I used it.
It's more that your old phone was attached to you, and
This one shouldn't be. It's at least not. It's not like. It's more prepaid one.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't really think that there's much of an issue with you calling to your parents. Like I said, it's more the old things that we have that attach us to who we are, through which they can basically track us.
Gotcha. Well, then I guess I won't worry about that, and I'll just go ahead and activate it.
I mean, I don't think it would hurt if you would let her check it.
Maybe it'll
And
make her trust me a little bit.
I was about to say that it might help. Nausicaa is someone that you have to invest into. But once you do, she's really a good friend.
I feel like there's something going on there. Reactions are not average.
There are issues, yes.
And this is coming from someone who was talking to a very, very drunk old woman by the name of Enid, who threw up on my shoes 2 days ago.
I think it's safe to say we all have our own special way of things.
Well, I can tell you now that looking back on the whole thing, I am grateful that my avatar was looking out for me. It could have been a lot worse if she hadn't been.
Definitely could have been. I'm glad for you.
Kept hearing her voice and telling me where to go and even telling me to run, you know? And throwing that crap in my face that, ugh. She kind of does one of those little shivery things looking off to the side, you know, that, ooh. As she's remembering the thorny bush with the dead bodies attached. Which, to be fair, she totally threw up at the moment when she saw that.
Mm. I'm not sure if I've ever seen my avatar. Maybe I have. I'm not entirely sure. But we've
Mine
all
is kind.
seen interesting things or weird things.
Saskia,
Mm.
the moment you say avatar, there's a little tune at the back of your head.
Bizet's Carmen.
Yep.
And she starts kind of like not necessarily humming, but just kind of tapping with her finger. As this is now the so manyest time that she's been hearing this, and it's kind of starting to get a little weird because she's not that much into classical music. So yeah, she kind of drops silent for a moment, like mid conversation. Um,
Yeah, she just sort of pauses and watches, like, because the sudden silence is certainly different.
mm, I'm sorry, I was saying right. I don't think many of us have actually seen their their avatar or something like that, but we've all had our own weird experiences.
Mine is, well, I'll be honest, she was cracking me up. I mean, if I hadn't been in quite such a panic mode, especially when I was seeing her down in the restaurant, I think I would have been laughing so, like, really hard. She genuinely seemed to have this real fixation on Caleb's bud. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Alpha looks a bit surprised, like frowning slightly, not in a like angry kind of way, more in a like, huh, what's with Caleb's butt kind of way.
Yeah, like, she doesn't quite know either. She just thought it was funny that this crazy old woman was like, "Ooh, look at that." I don't know. But it was interesting.
I'm sure it was. So as the warm milk and everything, I was kind of like getting tired. Um,
Hmm.
so she'll look at Grace. If there's anything I can do, we basically have, and I'll make sure that you get a copy of it. We've set up a few ground rules for just our group. We have not included Boris or Tasha because they're so much more experienced and wiser than we are. Um, it's like a list of rules and uh, a few functions, like um, Nausicaa is the one who spreads information and deals with like our financial situation. Caleb deals with the defenses. So a lot of us have a little task to keep our group together a little bit. Um, I've got the task to look a little bit after the new people, make sure that they have everything they need. So if there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to drop by. Um, I'm I'm usually, if I'm around, either in the common room, kitchen, or in the portal room, and I'll try and be more social and not hide myself away so much, so you can actually like reach me if you need to.
I'll keep that in mind.
Of course, you don't have to come to me. Like if you prefer to go to someone else, that's perfectly fine. It's more that you know, if you want to know that there's at least one place you can go.
She nods. I mean, this whole thing's weird and kind of surreal, and sometimes I still question whether it's real or not. But at the same time, I mean, I've seen some things that I just don't know how to explain anyway, other than it being the truth.
There will be a lot more of that. You've always said, well, but at least we have each other, and I think no matter how much we all grump on each other, we all know that we are in this together, and I think we are more than willing to help each other out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like don't hesitate to come and talk to any of us if you want to. She'll like pick up Paris and hold him in her arms.
He's going to gain weight if he keeps eating like that, by the way. Which
Yeah,
I suppose is okay. He's small, but
Yeah. The moment you lift him up, you can feel like he's a bit heavier because that was a big plate of food.
I'll just make sure that I, well, make him spend his energy tomorrow.
I'm sure it's fine.
So I'll see you tomorrow then.
Yeah. If there's anything that you need, let me know.
I will. And likewise. Yeah, Ava will go off the go downstairs and deeper down until the basement and enters the portal room. And as always, leaves the door slightly ajar, although she places something in front of it so that Paris can't like just easily jump out or anything.
And yeah, Grace at this point is going to realizing that the sweatshirt's still just too wet. It's a little, it's still chilly up here, even if it is a bit warmer than normal, but she's gonna kind of take off the sweatshirt, so she's wearing like a t-shirt underneath. And she's going to walk over to the easel, which is still needing to be finished on the scrubbing part. And she's going to kind of look down at her arm with all of its scars and kind of flex the hand a little bit, trying to make it do more of what it's actually supposed to do. And it still doesn't quite, which doesn't surprise her, but you know, whatever. It's just one of those things where she's just kind of looking at it like, oh, whatever. And she's going to grab the sponge and go back to cleaning, where she will probably stay until it's done, regardless of how late it is. It's not like she has to work in the morning.
True that. And I think with that we can end the scene. So thank you players for playing. Thank you ST for STing. Thank you watchers for watching. This was another scene for Living Will of Darkness, Mage Venue.